You gave him everything. And that is exactly where it started going wrong. Not because giving was the mistake. Not because being loving, open, generous, and fully present in a relationship is something you should ever regret. But because somewhere along the way, without anyone sitting you down and explaining this clearly, you were never taught the difference between a man who loses interest because of what you gave and a man who loses interest because of who he always was before you gave him anything at all. And that distinction changes everything. Because here is the version of this story most women carry. He was interested. He was attentive. He pursued. He made it clear that you mattered and that what was building between you was something real and worth investing in.
So you invested fully, openly, the way any woman with a genuine heart invests when she believes something is real. You gave your time, your energy, your emotional availability, your trust. You let your walls down. You showed him who you actually are when you are not protecting yourself. And then something shifted, slowly at first. The attention became less consistent. The effort became more occasional. The version of him that pursued you so deliberately began to be replaced by something more comfortable, more distant, more like a man who had somewhere to be that was no longer in your direction. And you were left trying to figure out what you did wrong, what you gave too much of, what you should have withheld, what the right formula was for keeping him interested without being so available that the interest disappeared.
But here is what nobody tells you. The question was never about how much you gave. The question was always about who you were giving it to. And the truth that most women never hear clearly enough is the one I am going to tell you right now. Pay attention, because this is the part that finally makes the whole pattern make sense. The first truth: some men pursue the idea of you, not the reality of you. In the beginning, he was chasing something, and it felt like he was chasing you, your attention, your affection, your presence in his life. And in a technical sense, he was. But pay attention to what specifically was driving that pursuit. For some men, the chase itself is the experience, the uncertainty, the possibility, the specific aliveness that comes from wanting something you do not yet fully have.
And you, warm, interesting, worth knowing, represented all of that possibility in the beginning. You were something to move toward, something to figure out, something that existed just far enough outside his certainty to make the reaching feel meaningful. But then the uncertainty resolved. He got close. You let him in. You became known to him in the way that real intimacy requires. With your guard down, your full self visible, the mystery replaced by something more honest and more human. And for a man whose interest was primarily fueled by the pursuit, that resolution did not deepen the connection. It ended the part he was most drawn to. This is not your fault. You did not make yourself too available or too easy or too anything. You simply made the mistake of being real with someone who was more interested in the chase than in what the chase was leading toward. A man who is genuinely interested in you becomes more invested as he knows you better, not less. The closer he gets, the more he wants to stay. When knowing you fully causes his interest to fade, he was never really interested in you. He was interested in wanting you. And those two things are not the same at all. Before I continue, I want to stop for just a moment. Where in the world are you watching this right now? Drop your city or your country in the comments below. Because the feeling you are carrying as you listen to this, that mix of recognition and something that almost feels like the beginning of understanding, women everywhere are sitting with that exact feeling today. You are not alone in this, not even close. The second truth: effort disappears when accountability disappears. There is something that exists in the beginning of every relationship that quietly disappears once a man feels secure. And most women never notice it leaving until it has already been gone for a long time. In the beginning, he tried. He made plans. He showed up consistently. He brought effort to the relationship in visible, tangible ways because effort was required, because you had not yet decided, because your continued presence in his life was not yet guaranteed, and he understood that clearly. But then the dynamic shifted. You chose him. You made your investment clear. You You demonstrated through your consistency, your loyalty, your willingness to stay through difficulty that you were not going anywhere. And slowly, without either of you naming it, the accountability that once drove his effort quietly dissolved. Because accountability requires consequence.
It requires that the person across from you understands, not theoretically, but in practice, that certain things will cost them something real. That inconsistency has a price. That effort is not optional, but essential. That your continued presence is not a guarantee, but a choice you make every single day based on how the relationship actually feels. When that understanding disappears, when a man becomes certain of you without having to continue earning that certainty, effort becomes the first casualty. Not immediately, not dramatically, but gradually, quietly, in all the small ways that eventually add up to a relationship that looks like the one you chose, but feels entirely different from the inside. The third truth: he confused having you with knowing you. This one lives at the center of everything, and it is the truth most women feel most deeply once they finally hear it said clearly.
There is a version of closeness that looks like intimacy but is actually just comfort, where two people have spent enough time together that the relationship feels established, familiar, settled, predictable, where the initial work of building something has been replaced by the passive experience of simply having it, where presence has become assumed and effort has become optional because the connection itself has started to feel like furniture, always there, never requiring attention until something breaks. He confused that comfort with knowing you. He confused the familiarity of having you around with the deeper and more demanding work of actually understanding who you are, what you carry, what you need, what makes you feel seen and valued and genuinely loved. And in that confusion, something important stopped happening. He stopped reaching, stopped discovering. Stop bringing the kind of deliberate attention that real intimacy requires from both people to stay alive. He settled into the relationship the way you settle into a chair, comfortable, unthinking, fully at ease, while you were still showing up every day, hoping to be truly met by someone who had quietly stopped looking. That is 3 truths. And what comes next is the part that changes everything, because the final truths are the ones that put the power back where it has always belonged. The 4th truth: you were never the problem. His capacity was. This is the one that takes the longest to accept. Because when someone loses interest after you have given them everything, the natural conclusion your mind reaches is that the everything was the mistake, that you loved too openly, trusted too quickly, made yourself too available before he had earned that level of access.
But here is what is actually true. Some men do not have the emotional capacity to receive real love without retreating from it. Not because of anything you did, but because genuine intimacy, the kind that requires showing up consistently, choosing someone deliberately, building something that demands real investment, is more than they were ever equipped to sustain. You did not give too much. You gave the right amount to the wrong person. And the difference between those two things is everything. The 5th truth: mystery was never the answer. The right man was. You have probably heard it. Play hard to get. Do not be too available. Keep him guessing. Withhold enough that he never feels fully certain. And there is a version of that advice that keeps women performing unavailability with people who are never going to choose them fully, regardless of the strategy.
But listen carefully. A man who is genuinely right for you does not need to be manipulated into staying interested. He does not need you to manufacture distance or engineer uncertainty just to keep his attention pointed in your direction. His interest in you does not depend on how much you withhold. It deepens with how much he knows. The goal was never to find the right formula for keeping a specific man interested. The goal was always to find the man whose interest in you is not a game that requires managing. That man exists, and he will not need you to be less so he can stay. Here is what I need you to carry before you go. You were not wrong to give everything. You were not wrong to love openly, to trust fully, to show up completely for someone you believed was worth that level of investment. That is not naivety. That is courage. and it belongs in the hands of someone with the capacity to receive it. Stop asking yourself what you should have withheld. Start asking yourself whether the person across from you ever had the depth to hold what you were offering in the first place. You did not love incorrectly. You loved completely. And complete love placed in the wrong hands does not become less valuable. It simply reveals that the hands holding it were never worthy of what they were given. The right love will not require you to shrink your capacity to give. It will not ask you to perform distance or manufacture mystery just to hold someone's attention. It will simply meet you, fully, honestly, and without condition. It will finally give you somewhere worthy of putting everything you have always had to offer.